Well, hello again friends, and welcome to another Prefect Line 9 live stream. We are sat at Terminal 1 at Melbourne, a very foggy Melbourne. The weather, I think, when I just checked, was 300 meters in fog. Just check again. Make sure I get it right. Just checking on my phone. 13 minutes ago, wind 3 knots from the southwest, temperature 5 degrees, humidity 100%, pressure is 1025, visibility is 2000 meters, few clouds, there we go, at a height of 300 feet, scattered 2200, patches of fog and mist, which I think we can see. Sorry, I just had a sneeze brewing there that didn't make it its way out. Anyway, thanks for watching, and we've already done one Qantas Aussie trip, but this is the first one with QVirtual, as I'm now a fully fledged member of that particular virtual airline. So this is the first trip. It's in Vulkan, so hopefully all goes well. This will be my second Vulkan Beta 14 trip. So let's just get the frame rate up, and you can see nice and high. CPU is not working, and the GPU really isn't working either, despite having quite high settings. So we are on stand. Which one is this? Bravo 24. VATSIM is very quiet in Australia today. Of course, it is pretty early in the morning there, so I don't expect anyone to be up and alive, but you know, it's almost 9 o'clock here. This will work out again well in the summer, in the winter here when it's summer there. Hopefully it'll be that bit busier. So yeah, without any further ado, let's hop into the jet, get set up, and do our trip to Sydney. So we can, there we go, find it, pop the battery on, got the lights set up so they at least come on. Emergency exits can go to alarm. They are visible out from outside, which I think is just a texture issue, which is, don't know if it's a Zibo thing or an X-Plane thing. Anyway, we have got ground power, so we can turn that on. And if you are really tempted, you can check the ground power before you pop it on the bus, although I don't believe it will illuminate, certainly on the older models, unless the quality of the power, the frequency and the voltage was correct. It would illuminate and tell you that it was available, but it would not necessarily be compatible on the NGs unless the power is of the right quality. It won't illuminate, so that's quite smart. Anyway, let's get the RSs aligning, and then we'll get set up. 7 minutes. What's the latitude? 37, so you can see we're 37 degrees south, even at almost the bottom of Australia, compared to well into the 40s in the UK, which, if I grab my trusty expired CAA chart, we are of course, no, not even in the 40s, we're in the 50s. London is on about 50, 51. So, gives you an idea of how actually far north we are in the scheme of things in relation to the world. Fuel damper can come on so we don't forget. You can see low pressure because we've got no hydraulics. Alternate flaps are off. Navigation's all set to normal. Hello, Ben. Well, you don't have to apologise for not watching, Ben. Thanks for joining anyway, and I'll apologise for not streaming much lately. I've been a little bit busy travelling about. Source auto and both to normal, so I don't normally vocalise these, but that's what I'm doing as I run down the flow here. You can see the fuel temperature should be ambient. I'm not going to check the crossfeed because we've got failures off, of course you would do in the real aeroplane. Pumps can all stay off, lights are off. APU is clearly off. Of course that would, if we didn't have ground power, we would have that on. drive disconnect, cabin util IV are on, power as you like. You can check it if you like, but don't expect anything particularly different. You can see those are all off as you'd expect. Circuit breakers are behind us, I don't bother putting those on. The panel's a little bit dimmer because it's night time. Both those to normal, emergency exit lights we've done. Chimes and belts off, wipers parked, start switches to right, diff pressure is 0, pumps can come on and the cautions extinguish, anti-ice off, test the window heats, then pop them on, set the AC as you like, make sure the packs go on. You'd have conditioned air in reality to, in this case, start warming the cabin up because it's 5-6 degrees. So nice and cold. We will have a look and just confirm what our cruise is. 350. And Sydney is going to be pretty close to sea level. There you go, 21 feet, so we'll leave that set to 0. The standby, the steady navigation lights are on. That says that we've got AC power applied to the aeroplane. So when you look outside, you can see the nav lights are on. And of course, it's night time. We haven't done this for a long time. So pop the logo on so people know who you are. There we go, that's us. That's set to odd. We'll set the rest of the panels up. Order brake to RTO. Test and out. That's interesting, that felt a little bit laggy. It's killed the frames a little bit. Just the graphics working hard, I guess. Hydraulic pressure we have. And then moving down we can check. Take off config. Radios will set up, but audio panel is set. And that's it for there. So I am going to start QVirtual on smart cars at 1950.25. I don't know if there is a turnaround prep time, but that is at least running, so that's got a log. Project Fly isn't running, that's playing up again. I'm going to pop airport on there so I don't forget later, and we can start loading up the payload. So got 168 packs. In reality, I don't think there's anyone travelling across the border in Australia at the moment from Victoria. Now, is that because of the layout? That must be because of the layout. So we will just open up. Let me just check. I have a feeling that it should be what's the 170 config? Why don't we just set it up while we're here? General config. No, it's not there, is it? There we go. So, is it a 180? I'm pretty sure I've set the aeroplane layout out correctly. Config have we got? 174. It's an interesting config. Doesn't exist in Zibo. So we'll go for the next one available, which is 180. We just won't fill it. It's fine. I can live with that. Ben, I'm sure you'll tell me if I'm wrong, and those are not the zones. Whatever. And let's just quick save all of those and try again. So 168. No, not 68. Until I'm flown for a few days. No cargo. And zero fuel weight is 56.4 is what we should have. No, so sim brief and this do not match. But that's okay, we can cope with that. 57.7. 1,300 kilos more. It's the weight of a car-ish. Anyway, let's get fueling. So our block fuel with a 15-minute reserve, although the weather is looking good in Sydney, certainly better than here. I'm just going to ask for 6.2. And there we go. That should now be on the way. You've got to have the refuel time set to short or real, or long or real, not short. And there you go, you can see it there. And the reflections are quite good with the lighting. Really quite cool. See our mate fueling us up. So, while we're fueling, I think we can start getting the cabin on its way to getting full. Just check the CG as well. It's fairly far forward. We could do with a bit of weight in the rear hold, or rearrange the packs, probably block off some of the forward rows. But it's not the end of the world. That sounded like a pretty local voice, doesn't it? Anyway, 26k. Nav data's correct. Last day that this AIRAC is in use, by AIRAC 7. So I think that's the date that it was generated, because it's not the date. 18th was when it was effective. So obviously there is a cut-off to when the date can be when the data can be static before it's dispatched. So if it's dispatched a week early, 20 June 11th, AIRAC 2000, AIRAC 20, year is 20, AIRAC 7, which is valid from June the 18th to July the 15th, 2020. So that's how you read that. I'm sure I've gone over that before. Anyway, we are at YMML. As we said, Bravo 24. Pop the GPS left position. Look, there we go. S for south. And the RSs are aligned, so there we go. Everything's just come alive. And we are off to YSSY. We are QFA 456. Which should be realistic times actually, but obviously not with the schedules as they are, I would assume. And the route is, I am going to load it up just to save typing, but we will check it. Direct, well, we're actually going to use a SYD to get to DOSEL. Yankee 59er to RIVET, and then the RIVET 3, which takes us basically overhead Sydney, and then vectors to an approach, so we'll have to create that ourselves. It certainly looks like we've got 6.2 tons of fuel. Got 3110 in each. So we've got slightly more than we need, but not a huge amount. Happy with that route, we can activate that. And as we are now finished fueling, we can pop the seatbelt sign on, do the performance in a minute. Just checking the charts for the transition altitude, which is 10,000. Can lower that. So before we get there, let me put N1 on here to remind us where we were. And because there's no one online, we have got to get the weather from another source. And I might as well do it here just so you guys can see what the ATIS is. I will scribble it down onto the OFP, just as if we were listening to the ATIS. So 1930 Zulu. The wind is 230 at 3. Now that was good. Having looked at the noise abatement, 27 is one of the preferred runways, and 16 we'd have had to have done a full length departure, so 27 certainly works for us, even though the wind is relatively negligible. 230 at 3, 2,000 meters visibility in patches of fog and mist. view at 300 feet. Scattered at 2200. Temperature 5, dew point of 5. QNH1025. And from 1930 2403, which is odd because it is 1930 0500 fog. Okay. Okay, yeah, fine. So we've got the weather. Let's set 1025. Let's pop Flight Director on master my side, and I've put the other one on as well. You can just about see it over there. We weren't on in 1 minute, were we? We were on perf. There we go. So 0 fuel weight. 57.7, so like I said, we are slightly heavier than the plan. There you go, there's our 0 fuel weight there. Our planned trip fuel is 3. Our reserves 2.4, round up to 2.5, round up to 2.6, and our alternate is Canberra, which is there. Cost index of 8. And our cruise here, initial cruise 350, no step climb. Top of climb wind is 236 at 36. And the ISO deviation is +4. So that's all the performance. And like I said, I've checked the charts. I might get those up and have a look, but if you've got them, the noise abatement ref charts, the purple ones, preferred runway modes, I am going from the 0600 to 2300 local, because we are taking off at 0615 local. Preferred priority, landing 1627 equal priority, and takeoff 27 and 34 are the priority. So we will happily take 27. I know the wind is effectively negligible. 34 would give us a much longer takeoff run because it's a almost 12,000 meter runway, but 7,500 feet is also equally long, and it's the shortest taxi, so two factors that help us out. So with that in mind, I'm just going to do the performance. We are going to be heavier than our estimated takeoff weight, and so I am going to, it's easily 1.3 on top of that, but that assumes that we use 15 minutes to taxi, so I'm just going to estimate 64 tons. And as that's heavier, that's going to be a worst case scenario. We'll update the weather, and we'll take the full length of the runway, calculate that. So 27 full is what I'm writing down. On the OFP, it's giving us a flat 5 22k with an assumed temp of 3.4. Flat 5, stop margin of 17 meters. Okay, that's, we've been safe there. We will go for that 17 meters and see how much of this runway we are going to use. That gives us a V1 of 139. So 2269, we are going to make sure that we line up and get going, use as much runway as we can and line up on the roll. And not hang about, because 17 meters is not a lot. 2269 is the takeoff run. 139, 139 are the V speeds, and 143. So 22k, 3.4, flap 5, we can pop the CG in and you can see that that's quite a bit of trim for compared to our normal loading, which is somewhere more around 5.5. Noise abatement continued. I didn't see anything, so what we are going to do is let's go for the lowest NADAP 2, and I'm going to imagine that they want everyone that's close in to benefit from the get as high as possible. So 230 at 3. I'm going to put the slopes in. 138, 138, 144. They're all within 1 knot. And so yeah, my estimate of 64 was a little bit high, but can't go wrong then. We're only going to be safer at that point. So I could have gone 63.9, but whatever. So 144. You can stick on there. We've already said runway 27, and we know from our flight plan DOSEL 1, which is usable from all the runways, I believe. Certainly is. And so checking with the chart, at null, yes. Parsi, yes. Petbo above 10. Pert, part, and then to DOSEL. Good, happy. So I'm going to execute that. Double check our route 400. Yep, that's sensible distance, and I'm going to put the arrival in now because we're going to have quite a bit of work to do to tidy that up, especially if there's nobody online. So RIVET 3, again, no transitions to any of the runways, and you'll see RIVET, Big M, and then Tammy. Interesting restrictions, so we'll look at those in the cruise and we'll come up with a somewhat sensible plan based on the charts. The MFRA is 1500 here, so we'll set that now. And I think I might just double check the weather. I don't want VATSIM just so it's easy for me. Still 1930 Zulu. Oh, hello. VATSIM weather is interesting. It's giving us 210 at 21. Don't think so. 14 at 1930. That is very different to what we have and what we are experiencing, so we'll be using that again. Like I say, we'll figure out the runway on arrival, or at least in the cruise. What we can do is put the descent forecasts in, which is of course going to be 310, 200 and 100. Transition level I'll leave, we'll double check. The forecast, the actual was 1016. That shouldn't change a huge amount. Of course you can't forecast a QNH, so you just go on the METAL when it was generated. 237 at 43. 200 is 184. 9er. And 100 is 177 31. Entered. Happy. That saves us doing a bit extra in the cruise. So let's get set up. We have checked those departures. The MSAs are interested. Within 10 nautical miles it's 3,300. And what is that reference? RMP1, jets only, runway is northeast, fine. Anyway, within 10 nautical miles of the airfield. 3,300, so I'm going to just use 10-mile ring here. And then, oh yeah, it is the aerodrome reference point, I just couldn't see it, was in a bad spot. 25 nautical miles to the north is 4,500. And we could bisect that with, although I suppose 260 would be more appropriate for us. Let's just see how that comes out. There you go. So this ring, 3,300 for our MSA. Of course, it's worth considering today with the fog and the poor visibility, and then 4,500 in this ring here, which does actually go out 260 this side as well. So bear that in mind on this leg outwards, that our MSA is 4,500 due to some terrain around to the north. So we're happy with that. Why don't I get the departure, and at least the departure and runway charts up so you guys can see. So if we go to, we're not doing intersections, so I haven't looked at the takeoff minimums or anything. I do have them, but obviously 2,000 meters is fine. Oh, that is interesting actually. 300 foot and 2 kilometers. I don't know what we're talking about. The takeoff minimums are 550, or with the runway lights, 550 meters for this category aeroplane. So you can see there's 27. Our taxi is not going to be particularly onerous. We might as well just go and follow Quebec all the way out. And then our SYD. Departure. DOSEL 1. There you go. Complete RNAV. 263. Check those points, and you can see there's the MSAs I was talking about. Off to DOSEL, and then off we go. So really not a lot to talk about there. Pretty simple, apart from that restriction B. 10,000. You should easily make that gradient. But I think the FMC would tell us unable restriction if we weren't able to. Like I said, we've done the MFRA, so we are good to go. With that in mind, I'm going to get the APU started. So we'll get the punters sat down. Oh, I thought it was an Aussie accent earlier. Get the APU on, get the aeroplane warmed up. So the runway heading is 263. That's the only thing we need to set. No nav aids. Initial climb. I'm going to just set that to 10,000. That way we can at least see if we're going to make that restriction. Got the speed restriction. Happy. I say nothing to set. I mean, you could set these up for the ILS if you had to come back. Maybe 3-4 or the other end. Whatever you nominated. There's the APU online. Get the APU on the bus, get the bleed on. And we can start securing the aeroplane. Parking brake is set, don't forget that. No squawk. And we can at least plan this, so I think it's going to be something as simple as that.
Round to cockpit, show you we got your plan there. Give me a call through the menu when you're ready to go.
It is very local. Don't need either of those on. And I think we can at least get connected.
Driving up right now.
So there we go, simple as that. Here, Ben, I hope you're doing well. Do give me a shout if you've got any questions. Just rattling through things relatively quickly as normal. Just going to check on the VATSIM. I had no idea how big Melbourne was. I know the old one was a lot smaller, Essendon. I know they're both relatively miles away.
Alright, all doors and
Centre.
hatches are closed. Ready to connect.
But we are the only one at the airport. And we are the only one. Yeah, pretty much somebody going into Adelaide, and that's about it, I reckon. Europe is lit up, rightly so. So is North America, a little bit busy in the south. And then a smattering over this side of the world, but it is 6 in the morning, so...
So connected and bypass pin inserted. Release the parking brake when you're ready.
Okay, so let's have a look at parking stands. Melbourne traffic, Qantas 456, push and start stand, Bravo 24. So we have cleared, or at least announced, all the pumps can go on, as can the anti-collision, the beacon.
Boarding is now complete. Flight attendants prepare the cabins. Verify arm door standby for all call.
Alright, got everyone strapped in. Give us a ring if you need anything.
Okay, so on this one that's just the full thing, so I'm not going to do that. Cabin is secure. Brake off.
Alright, starting the pushback, and you may spool them. Clear to start engines.
So I think that's wrong just because of X-Plane. The local time should be 6:15. And there we go, we are on our way at odd time. Relatively short push. So we will get packs off. Start engine number 2. There we go, that's viewer 1. And watching N2. 20 to 25% max motoring. Gonna be 25, fuel on. There we go. Engine stable, so we'll start engine number 1. Keep an eye on the oil pressure.
Alright mate, operation complete. Go ahead and set the parking brake.
Very Aussie. Brake set.
Alright mate, disconnecting tow, standby.
So the oil pressure, there you go, see it's starting to register. Don't want to be starting up a dry engine. 25% again, fuel on. It's looking like quite a nice turnout on departure. Starter cutout, and now we've got stable engine number 1, 2, 4, 6 and 3. So we will...
Tow disconnected, bypass pin, yeah, it's removed. I'll give you a thumbs up on the right and catch you next time. Have a safe flight.
Might as well wait to see the pin. I like the reflections, it's pretty good, and all adds to the atmosphere. There is the pin. So, before taxi or the after start check, whatever you want to call it. So I don't think we are in icing conditions at the moment. I'll have to check that actually, because what is the visibility limit? Less than 10 degrees. It's been a while since I've flown in such poor weather, so I will double check that before taxi, and if we need to take off with engine anti-ice on, that may affect our performance somewhat. But I'll leave it off and we will just pop it on in the initial climb, because we will be going potentially into some cloud. Don't forget to check this. Run through the reverse C. You've seen the pin. Flap travels. 5 selected. Flap 5, flight controls, full forward, full aft, full left, full right, full left rudder, full right rudder. And there we go. So before taxi, generators on, no lights. APU not required is off, start switch is continuous. Anti-ice potentially required on departure, but certainly not wing anti-ice. Probe heats are on. PAX auto. So air conditioning PAX auto, bleeds on. Isolation valve auto. Flap 5 required, 5 set, green light. Stab trim 6 required, 6 units set. Start levers 2, idle D10 down here. Flight controls checked, recalls checked, we are therefore ready to taxi. So I think we're just going to go all the way via Quebec, which should, I'm just trying to look at the chart here, sort of straight ahead and bear, yeah, it's pretty much this one. Bearing to the right ever so slightly. Melbourne traffic, Qantas 456, taxiing runway 27 via Quebec. We have self-cleared for taxi. So lights on. Reset that, we are clear to the left, clear to the right. Thought I saw a strobe light then, it's been just me imagining it. Back to the front, looking forwards, brake, parking brake off, holding with the toe brakes. Quick check there for config. No horn sounds, so we checked it at the gate to make sure it sounds. Check it for the taxi to make sure it doesn't. If it does, come to a stop, sort yourself out. And I reckon we'll be off 5 minutes early at 20:25. Because we have not got far to go. So for departure, auto throttle on our VNAV, we'll see how VNAV performs. We can put the weather radar on, terrain radar. And of course there you go, you can see some of that terrain. Hence why the MSAs are important today. And as you can see, it really isn't a very long taxi, so let's get the cabin secure.
Flight attendants prepare for takeoff, please.
As there's nobody else about, I'm going to do
Okay, the cabin is secured. Have a good flight.
lights. Camera, we've done. Action 5, 5, 6, 6. Hello, bit of a split there. 144, 144. There we go, so we're ready to go. Quebec 0927, yes, but that is not the actual hold, is it? Okay, maybe it is. Wondered if that was the Cat 2-3 hold, guess not. Melbourne traffic, Qantas 456 lining up, taking off runway 27, DOSEL 1 departure.
Approaching 27.
So it looks like it's going to be 24. And... oh, as I was scribbling down the fuels, I managed to let that get away from me. Anyway, that's worked
On
out
runway
okay.
27.
It's not muck about. There's the runway, correct heading. Power, 40% and stabilise. Could have done that better. 40% we have power, toga, time. Forward pressure on the controls, rudder as needed. Obviously not a lot of rudder in pretty light winds. Relax the forward pressure on the controls at 80, hands still on the throttle, ready to abort if we have to. I'm going to use all of this runway.
V1.
Hand off the throttle and then about 3 seconds to 10, that's a bit of a struggle. Okay, gear selected up, gear travels, onto the flight directors.
400.
LNAV. Command A, gear up. Oh, there you go, you can see that. Let's get the engine anti-ice on.
1000.
Visibility seems a bit better than 2K, but the cloud is certainly low. So just waiting for the aeroplane, get the frame rate counter up, just see how we do in the clouds. They seem to kill the GPU. Poor 1070 Ti. So waiting for the aeroplane to accelerate. Should be about now, there we go. Aeroplane's accelerated and with flap out it only commands 230 max. There is the aeroplane accelerating, flap 1 selected and travelling. Flap 1. Passing the flap 1 manoeuvre speed. Flap travels selected up. Go, flap is up after takeoff, auto brake off, flap up, no lights, passing the up speed, gear up and off. Start switches are going to stay in continuous with the anti-ice on because we're going to be entering cloud again in a moment. The cabin is pressurising, got 4 pumps, recalls checked, 2 bumpy, cruise released. Into the murk. So we should be off to Parsi, which is 332, but it's a big old turn because we are accelerating. But on Zibo, I think LNAV's flying that quite nicely, less than 20 degrees. Might as well make it a nice wide turn. And you can see that we are going to make that restriction of 10,000, so I'm now going to set 350. Once, twice, 3 times, climbing to a flight level set. I think we're out of cloud, but it is difficult to tell, so anti-ice can come off, as can. Oh, wrong way. Let's get those switches. We're passing Parsi, so it should be 042. But like you see, it is that just nice gradual turn. SA 4500 we are above. You can see a little bit of freeway out there. And there we go, fat, dumb and happy on our way. I think that flew pretty nicely. There we are, passing 10,000. Airplane's accelerating. Lights can all go off. They're a bit difficult to see without the dome on. As can the logo. Diff's coming up to 5. Cabin isn't climbing yet. Still got 4 pumps. So, I mean, the aeroplane is pressurising, but it is not climbing steadily. Can let the packs out. There we are on our way. It's nice seeing that through the clouds, isn't it? It's quite cool. Probably not going to see much from the outside. And then from PERT 049. Just dialing that in as a reminder because obviously we need to track that. So our heading might be a couple of degrees to the right. There we are, tracking 049. Of course you could dial that into the course. So we could dial in 049. Then actually match our heading. 051, 052. Bye bye Melbourne. Not much else to do now, really. Wait till we get to top of climb and then figure out what we are gonna do. Now I think our arrival stopped at Tammy, and looking at the chart, should at least go down to Boogie and then possibly Tessat, but I suppose we haven't picked the runway so it doesn't quite know. Cool, anyway that's fine. Got all that to look forward to. There you go, frame's not doing too bad. You can see how much I think how much better the GPU is being utilised and therefore offloading the CPU frames, so Vulkan really can't come soon enough, and hot on the heels of FS 2020 as well, which will be with us really quickly. Like I've said before, I don't think I'm going to be rushing out to jump in and buy it, but seeing that it's on the Xbox Game Pass and that you can get the Xbox Game Pass for 1 month for £1, probably 1 unit of whatever currency you are in, that might be tempting to try, just to see how it performs. A little bit of try before you buy it, don't mind spending £1 on it. Certainly be interesting. I think the weather will look really nice, although I'm not sure I'm going to necessarily get the best benefit out of the sim. We've got a good internet connection, but I have a humble 1080p monitor, as you guys can tell. Whilst it's nice and ultra wide, it's not 4K, so maybe one day. You never know, I might be flying in a real aeroplane before we get FS 2020. To see how that goes. I better start thinking about buying GoPros again, because then I can at least put these on the channel as well. Bit of sim flying mixed with some real flying. Missed a 10 check, that's me not paying attention. And there you go, the cabin is climbing at a much higher rate than was expected. Controller goes a little bit weird every now and then, does that. Haven't seen that for a while though. And as you can see, it was popped in before departure, so I'm not quite sure why that happens. Anyway, I don't know if you guys can see the cloud out there, but reflection of the moon, or maybe it's the sun coming up, I'm not sure which. There you go, you can see there's Sydney. I've done that drive in a camper from Melbourne to Sydney. Took 3 days going steady and stopping along the way, so it's certainly not around the corner. Sort of the next, it's not quite the next biggest city up, but you know, it looks like a small hop in Australia, and certainly an hour and a half flight in the UK would probably get you London to Edinburgh, so it's probably along those lines. Not sure it takes 3 hours on the train, I think it might be a bit more than that. The vast continent is Australia. Anyway, that's us DOSEL, that's the end of the arrival. And we are into the airways. So let's have a look at Sydney, and I'm going to have a look at the noise abatement charts. Preferred landing runways. It's not Sunday, is it? It's during the week. Preferred landing is 3-4 left. At least they give you a priority. Oh boy. Lots of noise abatement. Who would have thought the Aussies were so stressed about noise? A little bit of a twitch there as the aeroplane pitches for, I guess, the wind change. Yeah, that 1 knot dips a bit. Whatever. Does the job. A little bit of drift off there. See if that gets any bigger. Could of course switch to heading select. See if we can close that gap a little bit. Might as well set the back angle to 10 just so I don't forget it. 300. See what LNAV does there. Drifts us back off. So what I'm going to do is check the meta on VATSIM, which was at 8 o'clock Zulu. 220 at 22 is the wind. Let's see what the Google METAR says as well. Just in case VATSIM has got it completely wrong. 22 from the southwest. Okay, yep, I can live with that. 1017. So that 300 last 10 check. Diff is 7.6. Cabin is climbing steadily and is at 5.5. So 1017 we can set. Temperature of 12, humidity 76%. Few clouds 2700, 10k visibility. Scattered clouds at 4300 and broken at 6000. 22 knots from the southwest. Preferred runway 34 left. I guess we are going to prefer runway 25, which is second priority. Okay, I can live with that. Still an 8,300 metre long runway, 34 left is 13,000 feet. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. And they do, oh, that's looking interesting. They do in Australia do land after hold short, so you could be cleared to land 25 and then told to hold short 34 left, which would be interesting. Don't really fancy that much crosswind. So let's have a look at our progress page. We're going to burn another ton. That's not quite accurate. We need to put the rest of the route in. But 21, 27. Are we now 41?
How's we go?
What's that little airport down there? Going mad. So Benalla, that was, I did a gliding trip from there, which I guess is not that one, is it? No, for it to be lit. That kind of makes sense. Certainly Benalla was not lit. Just wondering what... Oh, that's much further out, isn't it? There you go. It's only showing long runways, I believe. That's the airway that we joined and that we are on. If you don't leave it in IFR long route, you won't see the ILSs, etc. You can see there, disable. That's what happens. Back on course, pretty much, I think. Don't know why there was that slight offset. So why don't we set up our approach? Let's have a look at the charts first. So we know what arrival we're doing, RIVET 3, and you can see that it stops at Tammy, so we know which runway we're doing. I think we want 25, which is this one. So actually, TESAT and then outbound wouldn't be too bad. So let's see what the approach for 25 is. There's the ILS for 25. Do they have anything else? They do, RNAV, and wow, Australia's leading the way, GLS. So let's load all these up and compare. With the configuration I have, we can't do GLS, but you can see why it is very useful, because just over there, you can see that you get almost an ILS minima from a GPS based system, which is not WAS, it's not EGNOS. Is EGNOS the European one? It's LAS, wherever, you know, there you put the channel in, there's the ident, Golf 25 Alpha, and yeah, almost exactly the same as the ILS for this runway without the ground infrastructure needed. Oh no, it is exactly the same minima, so I tell a lie. I should have realised that that was a bit of an odd one. So yeah, from a satellite based aid, it's pretty amazing. Jelly. RNAV, what can we do on the RNAV? So we can do RNAV VNAV down to 340, which with the weather as it is, we could try. Or we could just go for the boring old ILS. You can see step down fixes as well. But they're all from Jelly, so it doesn't really matter. I am tempted to fly the GPS. Like I say, not that it really matters, but it's pretty cool, and it is the future. 25 and then straight ahead. I mean, it just doesn't get any easier than this. Of course, you need to make sure that the temperature's in there. Sometimes you have to do temperature corrections. 4.4 to SIF is the start of that descent angle 3 degrees. So why don't we set up for that? We'll have the ILS tuned and ready anyway. Just in case, I don't know, maybe a controller comes online. That would give us lower minima anyway. We can set 242, there are no aids, not even for the arrival. Why did I go that way? No one, done it now. So, arrival. Let's pick the RNAV for 25. But we can expect TESAT, RIVET, VATSIM, Tammy, and that's interesting. We don't get any of those because there is no transition. So we're going to have to put those in manually. So Boogie comes after Tammy. And Boogie is no speed restriction. There's no speed restrictions on these. just ATC approach speeds, and max 250 below 10, of course. Above 8, below 9. This one is 6,000 above. TESAT. It says expect vectors. Anyway, we'll put that in, and what we might do is create a downwind point and fly an arc to it. TESAT to jelly would make sense and would work. Let's see what that looks like. How far away is top of descent? Quite away, so we've got some time. Just move this down. And we can step through. There's Rivet, there's the arrival. We go 8,000, below 9. There's Boogie. And above 6. There's TESAT. That takes us direct to jelly, which of course we don't want. So, I'm going to execute that initially. Of course it's not going to make that. And we can look at putting in a custom waypoint. So like I said, I think we will imagine that we got given a vector. That could be out closing, or it could just be effectively to a point, a beam and downwind. So jelly from this is, that could be a nice level base turn, to be fair, because of course we've got a couple of miles before we start descending. So how do we work that out? Well, we take the final approach, and there is no course in there, is there? So we won't know how far out it is. Anyway, it's not going to make a huge amount of difference. 242 is the final approach. We want 90 degrees before that. So to make a custom waypoint, we're going to take jelly, and if we said jelly 0,005 miles, it would put a point out somewhere like that. So of course we want somewhere down here, and to do that all you need to do is take 90 off of 242, which gives us 152, and that would give us a complete point out here. And max 185, 5 miles might do it for a continuous turn. 8 miles might be a bit more comfortable, or that might end up being a bit square. So why don't we take jelly 152 /5 miles. We can step through that. There you go. That gives us that point there. Is that going to give us a nice inbound? It might be a little bit too far out, but we can only see. And I'm going to put that there. So we effectively close towards the airport, do that, and it's slightly more than 180 degrees. Join that point. If it didn't span the page, it wouldn't be too bad. The speed restriction is in there. You probably want to be flap 1 at jelly at downwind, 4,000 feet above 3, 5 miles, 4.8, 3 degrees, 590, 1590. So that actually all looks quite good. See how that comes out. Maybe we could have done with it being a bit closer in. Never mind. Should be relatively comfortable. Looks alright to me. And that is essentially how you create a custom waypoint. 25, got the runway distance, yes. We've put that in so we've got a bit more accurate fuel predictions now. I'm going to put the LNAV VNAV minima in. Nice sunrise, sorry guys that we've missed that while I've been doing all the chat. So even though this is a height, it's still a barrow height. None of those are radio altimeter. 360 is what we want. No nav aids, MSAs from the ARP. 2,100 within 10. So you can go a bit lower, closer in. I'm just going to put 1. 25 miles for 2,700. And then of course for the runway, where's the runway? That's odd. Why is that not a runway point? It's the missed approach point. It's just odd that you would call that runway 25. Okay, whatever. It's going to be VMC on arrival. Somebody's taking off at Sydney, runway 25, yeah. Miles for flap 1, and then we don't need anything else. I'll get the weather in a bit and we'll update the landing performance just before top of descent. But that is essentially us. I suppose we could still use those. Turn everything up because it's about to get brighter. Is the contrail still outside? Or maybe that little glitch has gone. There we go, flying towards the sun. No idea where we're going to park on arrival. I think the schedule is Terminal 3, stand 11. No high-speed exits off this runway. We'll try and stop before the intersection. Okay, Bravo, do a right again. Domestic 3. Figure it out when we get there. So, approach wise, got the ILS loaded up, got the RNAV loaded up. Certainly nice and easy. And I'm going to try not to intervene with VNAV and see how it does. We built the profile. It should do a continuous descent all the way down. The speeds are in. It may need a little help with deceleration for those speed restrictions, but I'm just going to leave it and see what happens. And if we end up in a position where we think at that custom waypoint we are a little bit fast, we can just continue a bit further downwind before turning in. I'm going to resist the temptation to intervene. Oh, we are coming up on top of descent. So, it's now 8:30 Zulu weather, 210 at 21. Let's see what Zibo ACARS says. So that hasn't updated yet, that's interesting. Where the source for that is. So I'm happy to not use that at the moment. So I'm happy to go with the more up-to-date weather that I've got, which is 8:30 Zulu. Still no controllers on mine. 210 at 21. Greater than 10k. Scattered 2,700. Broken 3,500. Temperature 13. 2.9er. 1017. Moderate turbulence below 5,000 feet. So a bumpy arrival. Strong wind as well. So we think we're going to lose 0.6 tons. That's handy, isn't it? Gives us a nice round 61. And let's see what we get for our landing. We'll set flap 30. 25, dry runway. 210. 21. 13 degrees, which is not horrific. 017. We're going to go with 63 tons. Flap 30. Don't change any of the defaults. It's +9 VREF. And what does that leave us? Wow. Surprising. Because we are quite heavy. So, auto brake 3 is going to take us probably well and truly past the other one. I'm just trying to measure the distance here, because again, it's 2530 if we're going to use 2, yeah, we're definitely going to cross there. So we'll go max auto. This flat 40 isn't going to make much difference. And we do have that 155. Why do I have 143 there? 61. Oh, because of course I've put the weight in incorrectly there, haven't I? It's 61 tons. There we go, it's looking a bit better. I'm still going to use max auto with flap 30, 152, yeah. Yes. Not bad there. To remind. Scribble that down. And I'm going to set 10,000, ready for our descent. So hang on to your hats for this arrival. I don't know if you saw if you noticed the animation here, just like in the real aeroplane, although I suppose there is probably a better way to model it. You can turn that as much as you like, but to go to max you have to pull it out and twist it. So that is modelled, which is quite cool. Frame rates are doing well. And I don't think I've forgotten anything else. QNH is set, and then approach wise, the on-nav Zulu for 25, it's on-nav, 242 on the approach course. We are going to do an out check at 1590 at CF. then 360 is the minimum. I missed approach. Ooh, the word thence. That's very posh. Anyway, it's a straight ahead missed approach, so to 3000, which takes you above the MSA, so happy. It's checked. And altitude set. Here we are coming up on top of descent. A little bit slow retard arm there, it's not doing. In case Zibo is watching, that should be retard arm rather than keep the speed up. Should do it a bit quicker than that. We're in path, so it is going to catch it up. Of course we've got the speed, so there you go, there was no retard arm, just arm. There's RIVET, so not a huge long way to go, and then I suppose you could take an even more of a shortcut, but we'll fly to Boogie and then downwind. You could of course do something a bit more closing, have more of an intercept. We'll see how that 180 degree turn, 290 degrees works out. It's a bit steep. So there we are, approaching 300. So the bank angle to 25, don't forget to do that. Airplane is cabin out's descending. Oh, what's a shame about the redraw. So, how long have we got to landing? 31, 20 minutes. Let's get the punters sat down. Wow, some traffic. Who is this? Someone. FedEx 2614. Off to Melbourne. Very low, 24,000. Oh, -8, that's why. So we're the only inbound. All the departures are in flight. Not much else to say really, even for a short sector like this. It's relatively boring. But at least when there's no one online, it gives you an idea of what you can do by yourself. Especially when it comes to things like custom waypoints. How do you get from over here to over here? Well, yeah, of course you could vector yourself and just head east, try and figure it out, or use the systems to achieve your aim. Frame rate's doing. I'm just going to leave those up there. I know it spoils it a bit. Although I suppose if I cropped this to 16:9, definitely get rid of that, wouldn't it? Green banana right between the 8,000 above and 9,000 below, which sort of makes sense. We've got a couple of, looks like we're going to be holding 9,000 for a while. Continuous descent would be ideal, but I mean 9,000 is pretty high, so not too worried about that. We can, like I say, I'm just going to let VNAV do its thing. I'm happy to slow it a bit in the descent, seeing as we were a little bit fast to start with. Apart from that, I would like to just see how it performs. Obviously we've seen that the retard arm doesn't come up. Starting to see that profile a bit more now, so you can see we could have gone from Tammy, wouldn't have saved much though. Like I say, you're not going to get that if ATC were online. They would vector you at some point. So that is in effect for us a self-vector. Like I say, they'd probably actually give you something more of a inverted V for that intercept, or possibly a closing, maybe a bit further out, closing, base leg and then a 30-degree intercept. But like I say, it doesn't particularly matter. So it's now 1018. The transition level is 110. Do we have that? No. That's fixed. So might as well update these while I'm here. So wind is still the same. Cloud is lifting ever so slightly, and we've still got moderate to turbulence below 5,000, which I assume the relatively strong wind coming from the west is rolling off the Blue Mountains, causing that turbulence. Could be wrong though. Met I'm not very good at. So if we were cleared to 10,000, it would be an altitude. We would be given a QNH. So we need to be below 9. Airplane looks like it's going to get that bang on with the DOSEL. I am going to set 1018, which might be a little bit early. No, I suppose it isn't. We'd have to have been cleared by now. Match the heading. Always do that just in case you are given a vector or a maintain present. Of course it's not going to happen in our situation here. Then as we get closer to these clouds, I'm just going to keep my eye on the frame rate because the GPU appears to be working quite hard. Maybe I need to double check. I'm sure these are the performance clouds, but I could have accidentally set them back. So they certainly don't appear to be the best performing. It's a little bit stuttery. Sydney traffic Qantas 456 is 25 miles to the southwest. Inbound RNAV runway 25. Estimated time of arrival at Sydney 21:31 Zulu. Cash radio, but hey, if anybody is there on the ground. There is 10,000. Are we going to make the restriction without help? By the looks of things, yes. 10,250. Happy with that. Lights can come on. Don't need the logo. Recalls checked. Phone is on silent.
1,000 to go.
242 and on nav 25. So 9,000 below. We are just going to make that. Going to go down to 6, which is not below the MSA. You have to be above 6 at boogie. So the aeroplane is going to level off at 9. If we were to out-intervent, it would get rid of the restriction. One thing we could have done was restrict that to about 220 downwind from boogie. Going to be at 214, which is it's a bit of a strange 200 below, so that we're at least flap 1 at that point. And that might make the top and end of descent. Yeah, shifts ever so slightly. Because we do want to be flap 1 there, really. That is the 10 mile limit. I know we've got 5 miles to go by then, but we definitely want to start thinking about it. Then flap 5 on the glide. City traffic, Qantas 456, overhead boogie 9,000 feet, making for a downwind, left downwind, runway 25, sort of a downwind. There we are, arm, you can see our DOSEL point, so I'm happy to let VNAV continue. Can't see the airport. Big old bit of drift there, 40 knots of wind, and 240 knots gives us 1/4 as max drift, and it's pretty much max drift, so you can see there 10 degrees, 9, close enough. Good approximation. And even if that approximation, was 1 degree off after an hour's flying, you are going to you're going to be a 1/4 of a mile off track, which is not a huge amount.
Thousand to go.
So we can continue down to 3,000, which is still above the MSAs, and there goes the frame rate. Look at the GPU working. That is the limiting factor there. Maybe these aren't the performance clouds. I'll have to check. Because the active sky performance clouds were certainly performing better than this. Anyway, I mean, as long as it's just over 20, I can live with it. You can feel it's a bit, well, I can certainly feel it's a bit stuttery. And once we go into the clouds proper, frame rate should shoot up again. Those look quite nice. We are coming up on 10 degrees. I am going to set those switches ready. If the base turn, we can get cruise sat down. So we're still a little bit fast. There you go, and VNav will peg the up speed. It's actually not too bad. That turn has turned into a bit more of a 180. Let's go flap 1. That's worked out pretty good. Not gonna lie, that's good. A little bit of speed brake, just to make sure. It's going to dive for that profile. Oh, the cloud. Yes, we are struggling there.
Go.
So VNav has not done particularly well with the path there. Now we are going to be level, just for a little bit. No, we're not. So still in VNav path. There's the speed coming back. Still in LNAV, VNav. Which again, check on the PFD. Flap 5 is what we need. Travels set. Sydney traffic Qantas 456 established RNAV 25, 8 miles. So a little bit high energy, which is a shame.
2500.
Speed brake out all the way. So I'm quite convinced that that 3-degree path was drawn all the way around that turn. Anyway, 4 miles is what we're looking for our landing gate. Sydney's not looking too bad. The Ortho's not great though. So much for Sydney HD. I need to check it. It's terrible. So 1590 is our height check. Or a little bit high. And I have no idea where we're going. What on LNAV? Could we go to the left? Anyway, there's 4 miles, gear down. Flat 15 VNav will match speed.
1000 to go.
Can maneuver to sort that out.
1000.
And 152 is our final speed. 3000, still in VNav path. There is 152. And where are we going? Could land on the taxiway. Now, if we were taking that all the way down to minimums, that would be interesting.
Approaching 2-5.
I'm sure Zibo's going to give you a bad score for that approach. Minimums will be very late to correct that.
500. 400. 200. Approaching minimums. 300. Minimums.
Continue. We've self-cleared to land.
200. 100. 50. 40. 30. 20.
Is that float
Long
coming from?
landing. Long landing.
we're gonna go.
5,000 feet remaining.
Why's Togo not worked?
Too low, gear. Too low, gear.
That was really floaty. I don't know if that's the drag model going a bit weird. Anyway. Okay, flat 15 we did. Five seconds of trim.
Thousand to go.
So let's see if our nav gets us back on track there. Level at 3. There's the frame rate dropping a bit. Interesting, our nav gets us back on track there. So we'll just fly a radar pattern round. Why don't we try the ILS this time? Two 4-1, 242, so it's only 1 degree off. Something like that will do us. There's the old bridge. Oh, the terrain's all over the place there. Didn't aim that lumpy. And the Opera House. So let's bring the airplane back to the upspeed. Strong old crosswind, didn't it? So for the ILS, the minimum's at 230. 241. India Sierra Whiskey. Pegbert 16, 1610. 230, 1097. Both sides, courses set. P. Back to Jelly again, and so we will self-vector for this one. Bit close in for a downwind, to be honest, but there's a strong wind. So we'll go out, and then we'll make for about a 30-degree intercept. It's about 27 something. So that is sort of there. We'll turn around. If you draw a line through 09 to us, that's where we want that point. Maybe sort of around here. We'll turn in. Should give a rough intercept. Or you could do 241. Gives us, I think, 061. Let's go 180. Yeah, 061 is going to be out here plus 30 degrees, 091. So we can do Jelly 091, 4 miles. There you go, that gives us our intercept. That would give us an intercept. So that's a nice easy way of doing it. All I did there, 241 gives us 108 degrees, gives us the reciprocal, and then we add 30 degrees because it's measured from north from this point, which gives us that intercept of 30 degrees in. So why don't we do that? VNav sorts it out. LNav. Something like that. Okay, because we have just crossed over. Let's go flap 1, get nice and early. Daily traffic, Qantas 456, establishing ILS 2514 miles. So we've got a little bit of time from Jelly. Tuned and identified, localizers alive, arm the approach, localizer armed, glide slope armed. Bit of an interesting right turn there. So, glide slope alive, flap 5. Match speed. I suppose 1.6 would be better. So within 10 miles we have got flap 1, we're on the glide, we've got flap 5, capture. Localizer's still a bit off. So we're still getting the Met at 220 at 2.1. So half the crosswind. 1.6 is longer, I suppose, so these guys can't use this. We've got all the crosswind, which is mad really, 20 odd knots. Somebody's taken off out there, can't see him.
$2,500.
City traffic orders 456 established, ILS 25 7 miles. Nice and easy. Far too late to be doing this. It's morning in Aussie land. So Pegba, 5 miles, 1610. That was me reading it off the chart, not off the navigation display. There you go, that's our glide slope checked. There we are, waiting for 4 miles. Get down flap 15, match speed. Big brake armed, water brake max, gear down, 3 green. Holding on the landing flap, start switch is continuous, self-cleared to land.
1,000.
Calls checked. City traffic corners 456, final ILS 25, 3 miles. The app set 152. There we go, bit of a better position. Now we just need to not float that landing.
Approaching 2-5.
So the airplane felt a little bit out of trim there. A little bit slow.
500. 400. 300. Approaching minimums. 200. Minimums.
Continue.
$50, $40, $30, $20, $10.
You need to be parked on the ramp for service.
That was not ideal. Oh, we still managed to cross the runway. Manual braking. Wow, I suppose it was a bit floaty. Sydney traffic, Qantas 456, runway 25 vacated. So, that was fun. Let's get the airplane cleaned up. City traffic, Qantas 456 crossing, runway 16 right, 34 left. So we can get the strobes back on. Did they go on? Yes. Landing lights on for crossing.
Approaching 16 right.
And now where are we going? Just going to follow this all the way. We'll pick any old stand over here, so let's get the APU on. City traffic, Qantas 456, runway 16 right, vacated. Domestic terminal, anything over here I think is going to do us. Oh, I think it was meant to be 3. Oh, okay, 2 and then 1. Oh, whatever. Let's go up here and do a right and then just park up somewhere. Lights off. Textures look pretty good. Zibo say about approach great. Yeah, it wasn't that great. How was the landing? Landing excellent, really. Felt awful. It was well off the centre line as well. Any one of these will do. Ooh, some interesting stutters. Despite decent frame rate. And sadly guys, I'm knackered, so I'm not going to do the replay. I will say thanks in advance for your patience. And just an hour and a half after leaving Melbourne, welcome to Sydney. Quick, cheat to get on stand here. Stand on the brakes, that'll do. Brake on. Transponder standby. Engine, APU. Packs out. Sorry, crew out. 2 blues, 1 red. Engine's dead, there we are on stand. So it is 1 hour 20 flight time, 32 blocks. We've got 1390, 1400. We have used 0.72, 0.72. Welcome to Sydney. With 20% N2. Beacons off. Ground power would be nice. Let's get the chocks on. Okay, I'm not going to bother with the ground power, but anyway, guys, that is us. Very early morning. Just coming up to 8 o'clock, breakfast time in Sydney. And there we are. Nobody else is about. I'm going to have a look at the Ortho, try and figure out why it's so poor. But here's the airport. Oh, I tell you what, I kind of recognise that. Been there before. You can get off at Mascot, which is out around here somewhere, to avoid the fees to go to the airport stations. Gave a hire car back out this way as well. So yeah, that kind of rings a bell, that long old walk. I think the station is somewhere down here, maybe around here. I have to have a look on Google. Anyway guys, thanks very much. Hope you enjoyed it. Welcome to Australia for the second time, but for the first time with Virtual Qantas, and look forward to doing some more flying here. So thanks for watching. Stay safe. Well, hope you enjoyed it. Please give it a thumbs up and a like and a sub if you did. And I look forward to seeing you again soon, but for now, from me, the landing rate was 206 on smart cars. I'll take that. Thanks very much, and bye-bye for now.